Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the fourth and final week of Career Month. I'm Brenda, the Community Manager for the Scholarships team here at Udacity. As you know, each week we are covering a different theme to help you prepare for your job searches. Last week we went through the interview process, and now we're talking about what to do after you've gotten the job. Negotiating your offer can be intimidating, but it's important. So today we have Denise Wood-Taylor from Udacity's recruiting team who will share what to expect during the offer stage. Denise has been a recruiter in the tech industry for nearly 4 years, supporting engineering, data, marketing, and general administration teams. She is currently supporting domestic and international recruiting for Udacity, which is very relevant for our global audience today. On a personal note, Denise recruited me to work at Udacity and was instrumental in guiding me through the negotiation process. We are very lucky to have her with us today. Welcome, Denise.
Thanks, Brenda. So hello, everyone.
Welcome to our webinar.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be able to share a little bit more about our side of the negotiation and hopefully help with some tips on my end. So let me share some information with everybody. So I wanted to share a little bit more about negotiating your offer and what to expect during this stage. A good start is to really know what you're worth. In this part of the negotiation, before you go into it, doing the right research for the role that you're applying for and you're interviewing for is a really great way for you to ask yourself, what is it that you want to be asking for and how are you going to position that request? So do the right research, right? Compare roles that you're applying for or interviewing for with similar companies and similar locations as well. This means, a company that might be in the same series of funding, same revenue, same number of employees, that will give you the best indicator on what you should ask for and what the value of your role would be for what you're interviewing for. Also, take a look at the scope of work for your role. A manager level or an associate level at one company might not be equal to another title at another company. So really take a look at the scope of work and compare that role specifically with what you're interviewing for. Also, another great thing to know before you go into the negotiation or offer stage is to think about the total package. And what that means is you're not only looking at a base salary, but there's a lot of add value to the add-ons on top of your base salary. If there's a bonus structure, if there's an equity component, what the benefits look like, and then also perks as well. You might not think that providing lunch is a big deal, but if you look at it, there is a monetary value there on a daily basis. So take a look at the entire package and really consider what you want to ask for and what that value is to you. The next thing is to, once you do your research and see what other companies are paying and what the market value is for your role, what's important to you? This is a really good thing to consider when you're negotiating because, sometimes one person's value of, growth opportunities trumps salary in general, or maybe the location of the role is more important than the perks and benefits in other ways. So take a look at what's important to you. Is it growth opportunities? Will you be able to progress in your career and learn from a great team? Do they have a scope of work that you wouldn't have elsewhere? The leadership team, is this a group of people that you want to learn from, that does great work and you can really be inspired by? Look at the company that you're working for. Is it a company that is exciting to you? Do they have a great mission? Do they have a great product? Are they in the industry that you want to be in? That's a really great thing to think about as well. Is that important to you? So that will weigh heavily on your decisions for offers as well and how you'll negotiate. Also look at compensation, of course, and perks and benefits, but in what regard is that more important to you than a company or leadership? And the perks and benefits are sometimes overlooked, but are very valuable as well, right? The costs for healthcare or vision or 401k and other perks like being valued and having rewards. Maybe that's important to you as well, to have to be able to see bonuses and upsides and rewards for doing great work. And also location. Sometimes this can be a key factor. Commute is something that is also a consideration. Is it a company that you're willing to travel for? Is it not does not fit your lifestyle to have to commute for work on a daily basis. So all these things are really important to keep in mind when you're negotiating, because you're going to want to maybe pull one lever and be and compromise on another. So now that you have all this information on, at least you wrapped your head around the research, what's important to you, you can go into the offer call with a clear vision of where you want to be. So what to expect on the offer call. So you'll get, of course, the full offer in detail, right? You'll understand the perks, the benefits, bonuses, the stock options, the compensation, the annual compensation, and things like that. On top of that, you'll also have the opportunity to provide your initial thoughts on the offer, which is a really great way to start the conversation of negotiations. Remember that recruiters are on your side too. Our job is to make sure that we're hiring the best people for the role, and we're on your side. We want to make sure that you're happy when you're in your role as well. So in order for it to be a win-win situation for the candidates and hiring teams, we want to make sure that it makes sense for you too. So if equity is more what you're looking for versus salary, and you're willing to make some concessions and negotiate higher on other sides, we'll do our best to make sure that we can make that work for you. So that's something that you can expect on the call. There are boundaries, of course, but if you have great research and you're asking for things that make sense, then we can definitely help you and guide you in that direction as well. So you'll also be asked when you'll be ready to make a decision. Be honest. If you have other offers on the table, or you want to finish up on some other interviews before you make a decision because you want to have all of the information before you move forward, share that information. It's really valuable to help understand your timeline, and then the hiring teams can help manage their timelines as well. Maybe delay on some other decisions, or kind of take a step back and wait if they need to, but be really honest about when you're ready to make a decision. It will gauge your level of interest as well. If you're really honest about it, like, I want to make a decision by Friday because I'm really excited, but I want to finish one more conversation. That's completely valid, and being honest and transparent about your timeline is very helpful for everybody. Also, really take this time for during this offer stage and the initial call to ask all of the questions that you have, whether it be, what does the equity mean? What the benefits in detail are, what 401k might look like, what the salary looks like, if there's bonus structure, what the bonus structure is, if there's a bonus component. All these are valid questions, and will kind of give you that full picture so you see the entire package and the value of that entire package, because an offer isn't just one thing. It's not just the salary. It's so much more than that. You want to ask about the growth opportunities, where you are when you start versus where you can be in a year is a big factor on that offer call as well. And then also, negotiations is a good reminder. Negotiations are a conversation. This conversation can be difficult sometimes, especially if it's the first time you've been because if you don't know what the other person's thinking. But remember that this is a conversation, right? Just like your interviews, it's a conversation that's just an extension of their interviews. We really want to make sure that you're comfortable in this, you know what you're asking for. Just like you were confident in the way they were answering questions in your interview, it should be the same during negotiations of an offer. So based on the research that you've done and really understanding what was important to you, you can go in confident and be like, this is what I am looking to make based on my research for this level of role in this industry, in this company, and be really flexible on what that means to you too. Again, that comes into play with the whole offer, is some companies will have a lower base and higher equity. Some companies will have a higher base and lower equity. Just know what's most important to you and really kind of use that to leverage your best offer. And this is another reason why it's good to remember that this is a conversation, because the way that you approach negotiations and how you are confident about what you're asking for is really telling on your communication style. It's telling on how you'll work with teams, how you'll ask for raises in the future, how you'll, these are really, it's a good way, just like the interview, to show like I know what I want, I'm confident, but I'm also reasonable at the same time. And then this is a really good one to remember is know what you're willing to walk away from. Having, taking in consideration the growth opportunities, the company, the leadership, and everything like that. Is there a number that you would be comfortable walking away from, given all those other factors that are important to you? Maybe there's a number that you're like, it would only make sense for me to take this job at this number. Otherwise, I can be okay walking away from this company and this team if they can't make this work. So think about that really hard, because what your salary is at the offer isn't what isn't telling of what your future could be at that company, right? There's other things to consider, the impact that you can make, and then what you're going to make in a year from now. So think about what is the most important for you and what you can walk away from, and then be confident in that, and you can be transparent about that too. Like, this is the number that I really want to make sure I make because of XYZ, and then it's a conversation. Recruiters or whoever is negotiating with you will be honest with you, like, I can't make that work, or I'd love to make that work. Let me see what I can do. And that goes into being honest and direct, right? Really knowing what you want to ask for, being flexible too. Be like, I know I should be in this range, but I'm flexible for a growth opportunity, is a really great way to be honest with them, right? If you're starting off and it's a new role for you, what are you really looking for? What's the end goal? Is the end goal to have career progression? Is the end goal to have a great company name on your resume? What's your end goal? So be honest and direct about what you're interested in about the offer and the role, or what you have reservations around. Is it, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable about having this equity, I would rather have a higher base. Then have those conversations, and then get really comfortable with what you're walking into and what the offer is as a whole. If there's a conversation and the recruiter or whoever you're negotiating with sells you more on that piece of the offer, and they're, want to make it really clear to you on what you're going to be walking into and all the benefits of taking this job, that's what you want. You want a company that's going to, want you as much as you want them, that they want to show you the value of the company, the value of the team, the value of the role. So be honest and really direct and open about what you have concerns around, and they'll address those for you. So you're completely 100% excited about joining if you do decide to join. And then with negotiations, this comes into play of thinking about the entire package again. When you're discussing or when you're negotiating and coming back with what, you've heard the initial offer, say you want to negotiate and come back with something. Think about all of the different pieces of the offer and come back with, I would really like, this base, this equity, this flexibility with my schedule, or something like that. And make it one package offer, or one package negotiation. You want to try to not have the recruiter have to go back multiple times to the hiring teams and finance to get approvals and move the needle here for a salary, and then go back for equity, and then go back for a sign-on bonus or things like that. It's a really great, it will show that you're not thinking of it as a whole package if you do that. And it also takes a lot of time on everybody, which isn't ideal. You want to make it, a nice conversation where both parties consider each other's time and respect the value of what we're bringing to the table. No one is trying to nickel and dime. Companies have market research as well, and great companies will make sure that you're paid fairly, that the role is clear to you, that it's the right move, that you're comfortable with it. So really think about all those pieces and how you want to negotiate, and come back with one, like if you want to go back with a counter, that it's a whole package counter, so we don't have to go back and get approvals over and over again. It is a lot on the back end to have to do. So you want the team on your side and be like, okay, that's fair. I can do that. And then if they do it, then, if that's what you want, I would urge you to take it. If you go back again, it just says like, okay, you can't, keep on pushing the needle further and further. it doesn't always sit well. So think about that as well. Really, and then that just means really knowing what you're asking for coming into the negotiation stage. But yeah, that's pretty much all of the information I have on my end in regards to what to expect in the negotiations. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have in regards to the slides I've shown.
Denise, thank you so much. That was really some helpful tips. I think what really struck out to me of those slides, number one, was know what's important to you. I know that for a lot of our students who are going on to for their job search, like big name companies like Google's what's important to them, but they should also know that, you know, if growth opportunity is important or flexibility in schedule, then, you know, smaller companies might be able to provide that a better opportunity for them. So know it's important and go after that. So some really good tips there.
Awesome.
Yeah. So let's take we have some pre-submitted questions from the students. So let's dive right into them. The first question is, what if I ask for too much or too little? Will the company reject me?
I mean, I think that if you do your research correctly, you're going in with some sort of range. They should reject you based on that. But it would be, again, a conversation, right? When you're negotiating, you're saying, I would like, if recruiters and people negotiating will usually be honest and say, that's a little bit high for this role. And then it's up to you to decide, again, what's important to you. If this isn't right for comp reasons, then it's not right.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's kind of like what you also touched in the slides is how, as recruiters, you're also there to help the potential, you know, future employee and to work with them and give them that information to kind of continue that conversation too.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question they have is, I don't know much about equity. How do I know what to ask for and what is an appropriate offer?
Yeah, that's a hard one. And that comes into play of